This is the call that we do every Monday night. We've been doing it now. We're going into our 8th year, actually, and we've had some journeys. You guys have seen me go through. So those of you guys that have stuck with me all this time, like Chad, he's here on the call. He's been on the calls for gosh forever, 7, 8 years now. And and it's your support, it's your continued support that really helps us prosper. And before we go any further, I want to go ahead and we just want to open up the call with a prayer. I want to give thanks and also say a special prayer for James tonight. He's doing some moving. He's not able to join us on the call, but he also injured himself, being James. And we're just going to lift him up in prayer tonight. So let's do that real quick and give thanks. Father in heaven, I just thank you for this opportunity that we have to give thanks to you, this opportunity of free speech, this opportunity that we have to reach the entire world if you allow it. And Yahweh, I just pray for a blessing over this meeting tonight. And I pray that every word that I speak tonight, not be my words, Father, but let them be your words. Not let them bring any glory to me, but let them bring glory to you, Father. We lift up James today. And I just pray, Father, that you heal him and you give him a miraculous healing, some grace, and whatever else he needs to go with it, Father. And we just pray that he make it here to San Antonio safely and as planned and on schedule. We give you praise, honor, and glory in all things, Father. Shalom. All right. Let's get started, man. So tonight, I want to talk to you guys about the upcoming debt and foreclosure class. A lot of people say, well, I'm not going through any kind of foreclosure, and I'm not in any real serious debt. Everybody's, we're good over here. It's not really a class I'm gonna really need. Well, and at face value, I would shake your hand and agree with you. But this class is a little deeper than that. So some of the things I'm going to talk to you about tonight are going to make you think. And I'm not here to control what you hear, what you say. I'm here to put stuff out there to make you think, to make you draw the conclusions, because it's just a better way to do things. So I want you to think about something. The average price for a house right now in San Antonio is about 350,000, right? And most people would agree with that. And or somewhere within whatever. But when you go into your bank that you're making your payments at, you're going to notice that there's a plaque up there and it says they're insured for 250,000. Now wait a minute. If these guys loaned you the money, how did they do it? They're not even insured to have that much money. And I mean, and don't let your house be 800,000. Seriously, then that really changes the dynamic now, doesn't it? So what does that mean? We're all getting picket signs and we're going to picket the banks. That's it. We want an explanation right now. No, I'm just kidding. No, 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 not at all. What we do is understand your opponent, understand the situation. A lot of times, our instincts will tell us to stomp out, destroy something, kill that thing that's flying around you. Don't worry about what it is. Just swat at it, kill it. That's an instinct that we have, and sometimes that instinct doesn't really help much. So let's turn on the instincts that do help. When you're analyzing and looking at your position as a consumer, where do you see yourself? More often than not, we see ourselves as the one that just makes the payments. Can the payment fit? Did you know that part of the approval process when you get a loan is to look at your finances? And here you are thinking that they're just looking at your finances just to see if you make enough money to have it, or if you can buy the car, if you can pay for it, whatever, right? That's what we're thinking. What if I told you that these people are handicapping you so that they know how to control and manipulate what you're doing? Because if they know where your maximum threshold is, as far as what you can pay, then they know exactly what to do to make you squirm. And people in America right now, in Victoria, Texas, and lots of other small towns in Texas and other small towns around the country are experiencing incredible tax hikes. Like their property. No kidding. I have a friend that has an acre of property and it's a partial with another partial. It's next to it. And he has another partial that has his house on it. His house loan was only 80,000. His partials, according to the tax appraisal district, are now worth over 230,000 a piece. So what happens? Now you're not budgeting for that payment, and now your taxes just went up, and now your payment just went up. And they act like it's a storm and something that just blew through here. It's not. And this class that I'm teaching is about taking control of that situation. It's about being successful in that situation, not sitting there being a bystander or a witness to your own demise. There's a lot of people that are stuck in credit buckets around the country. They're stuck in them, man. They can't get out. I'm going to tell you that was me. I'm going to tell you I had perfect credit. Still do, by the way. But I mean, I had perfect credit and couldn't get over a 680 beacon. Just couldn't do it. Why? Those are the things I'm going to talk to you about. I'm going to talk to you guys in this class about how this credit game is really a system of handicapping you. It's a system of what do we have to do to make him go move across the country? What do we have to do to make them sell their car? What do we have to do to make them buy another car? What do we have to do to say you need to open up a HELOC so we can continue to run paper to the treasury and cash it for you on your behalf, and we're going to stuff our front pockets with it? Huh? These things are happening, and it's been happening for years. You know, one of the things that I learned in the banking business is whatever is public needs to stay public, and whatever is private, shh, you don't talk about it. You just perform. If you really want to understand how this thing works, watch for the people that perform. Forget about the people talking about it. Okay. And when I say performance, I mean, is anything they're doing verifiable? There's a lot of people out there promising the world right now. I have seen TikTok explode with the craziest things ever. Yes, I know. I'm always picking on David Straight because he is a big fat fraud and whatever. So, and I get that. But see, I didn't get kicked off YouTube. I'm good. I didn't get kicked off my own channel. I love it. Anyway, not yet. Usually that's it. You're gone when I say that. Well, it's going on YouTube later. Anyway, we've got something else going on in this country. We've got foreign people, foreign invaders that are on TikTok right now telling Americans to stop paying your bills. And these people are trying to bankrupt and just queer the system down so it's over. They're trying to collapse our economy. You understand that this is a war tactic. And we also need to understand that our country is at war right now. You think all these troops are moving around from the States down to Texas? You think they're just exercising? I got news for you. They're not. I don't believe we have a government in place right now. I really don't. I've seen people waiting over 6 months to get responses from the Secretary of State's office, and they still haven't gotten them back. That's a problem. So what do we have? We have the state quietly picking up the slack. Meanwhile, we've got these criminals running around, and you've got people that are telling you to do things that are dishonorable. David Strait is one of them. He's going to tell you to go in there and that you don't, and just basically to act like a big fat tax protester. And then when you don't do anything, he's got these people so programmed up, it's like they're in a trance. It's like they've lost all critical thinking skills because they're stuck on this map. Well, we got another guy. And this guy likes to put the American flag over here and then some other flag on the other side that I don't even know what it is. And apparently he's a United States Federal Post Office postmaster fraud of some sort. Look, man, these are people that want to see our country fail. And maybe they have good reason for it. Maybe they're justified for it. Maybe. But it doesn't mean that we need to be victimized. And we need to be smarter than this. We need to be paying attention. Knowledge, wisdom. You need them both. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't have the wisdom to use it, you'll never get out of your driveway. I'm telling you something real. So, because there's no government in charge, I believe FEMA is in charge right now only. But being that that's the case, what does that mean for us? Go buy big screen TVs at Walmart? No, no. No, 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 no. What we need to be doing is we need to be investing in ourselves, understand what's happening. One of the things that you're going to learn in my debt and foreclosure class is the power of equity. There's a lot of teachers out there, they're doing a lot of teaching, but they can't explain equity. All they do is sit there and say, law, 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 law. The law says this and the law says that. Hey, the law says that you can travel in a conveyance unencumbered and you can't get pulled over. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm here to tell you that's absolutely not true. Why? They wrote another law, man. Do you hear me? Those of you guys that are chasing the law book around, it's a good idea. But don't put all your eggs in one basket, boys and girls. There's another game at play, and it's called equity. And this is the difference between the people that know what they're doing, the people that just, the people that know what they're doing versus the people that just went and sat in somebody's class for 3 hours, and now they've come out and they've stolen all their intellectual property and they're moving it because it's an opportunity to make money. Yeah, we have a lot of that. And I'm going to tell you, look, if you've got the experience to back up what you're doing, and if what you're doing works, actually works, not just in your head it works, not that it's rational and it works, but you've actually done it and it works, then you know what? You should teach us something. And I'm down to learn. But the problem is that we got too many people running around chasing rainbows. We got too many people waving around PDFs printed off the computer for since 2015 or longer that's been around. Stop the Pirates and all of Anna Von Wright's paperwork and stupid stuff. And they're waving this stuff around like they're blank checks. And they're not. We're not understanding equity. They're not teaching you equity. They're teaching you law so that you're distracted. I just did a travel and driving class. And one of the things that we really, really spent a lot of time talking about in this class is, where is that line? Well, liability. That's when you get pulled from your public to your private. I'm sorry. That's when you get pulled from the public to the public when you're in your private. It's when you've become liable, when you've done something. That's why there's a whole flashy light thing going on. It's public notice, man. And they're setting the stage. Why? Because that's what Masons do, man. Checkerboards. It's what they do. And they're all part of the same club. So what do we do? Let me tell you a story about somebody I know. A little skinny kid went to prison. Yeah. And he was like the only white kid in this tank. Very small. Everybody else, very big. And they're up at night. It's late. And they're slamming dominoes. It's loud. So the little guy goes over there and says, "Hey, can you guys keep it down?" Of course, he gets cussed out, threatened, and back to your bunk. Can't take it anymore. He may not have size, but he's got sense. So he goes over there. He reads the game, knows nothing about dominoes, but he starts learning because he's watching them. And he grabs the big six, which is the double 12, double six, throws it in the toilet, flushes it. They beat his butt bad. But you know what? Everybody went to bed. Eventually, he figured out that this is not such a good strategy. And so, what he decided to do was learn how to play the dominoes. And once that little skinny kid learned how to play the dominoes, it was him that was putting everybody else to bed at night. Uh-huh. So what I'm telling you is this this debt foreclosure game, this equity game is something you need to learn. Because if you don't learn it, this equitable jurisdiction is going to be out there and you're going to have all these space cadets talking about land, air, and water jurisdiction like they're Captain Planet or something, or Dora the Explorer. I mean, seriously, stop it. It's true. It's just disgraceful. And I tell you the reason why most people lose in court? It's not because of law. It's because they followed equity. And you were so busy looking at the clock, looking at how much you were spending, looking at how you were feeling, worried about your kids, worried about being mad at your spouse, whatever the situation was, you were distracted. And they made sure of that. Why? So that they could get your consent. And all they have to do is understand equity. So this class is going to show you some basic fundamentals about equity. It's going to answer the question of where's your common law courts? Where are they? You know what? I mean, it sounds like such a dream vacation, right? When people say that, where are our common law courts are gone. I think David says that a lot. Well, he's an idiot because they're not gone. You know where our common law courts are? They're held in equity. And you know who the big boss is on that? The postmaster. And that doesn't mean that you need to play the postmaster. It means you actually use the postmaster. I mean, God. And I keep hearing these teachers, they start heading on something really good. And then they say, and then you can be your own postmaster. And then you start canceling your own stamps. What's the freaking point of that? What kind of a witness do you have of that? What, you witnessed your own court stamp? That's just dumb. And equity doesn't work that way. Equity works when the people act as such. So you remember what I said about the cop pulling you over? He turns on the flashy lights and the world is a stage. Take this class and I'm going to show you how to build that stage. I'll show you how to flip the script on these guys. And then not only will we clean your credit, but I'm going to show you how I foreclosed on my lenders. Not all of them, but the ones that don't act right, the ones that don't want to service their contract, the ones that do not give me, the beneficiary, the proper consideration, especially when I ask for it. And then when they don't do these things, I'm going to be sure. Sorry, I heard my door open. Anyway, when they're not doing these things, I'm going to show you how to do the recourse. It's not calling the 1-800 I'm pissed off number. That's not it. No. What did I say earlier? That which is public, and that which is private is private. So when you start doing administrative processes, shh, no talking. You should be typing. You should be mailing. You should be paying attention. One of the things we're going to be covering in there, like I said, we talked about just a minute ago, is this little guy right here. It's called a firm mailing book. And as you can see, I actually use it, a lot of it. I have another one that's completely full. And I've been doing this for a lot of years. So before you take a class from somebody, make sure they've actually done some of this stuff. Make sure, I mean, there's 10 grand at least in postage in this book right here. Easy. And these are tickets. These are installment contracts, liens, all kinds of stuff, court stuff, all canceled, done, finished. Let's talk about what a court record is. Okay. A court record consists of what? Two parties plus one party that watches everything, right? Which is the clerk. So basically, what they do is they record everything. It's boom, 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 boom. Now, one of the things that really hurts you in ticket court, or perhaps can help you, is that, excuse me, they usually don't record what's going on in there. They usually just turn on the mics and they just act like something's happening, so you feel special. Empowering the people with the microphone. They do. And they really think that that gives people a facade, like they've got some power now. And they don't have anything. It's crap. But here's where your saving grace is. If you know how to move in equity, you're going to make your record and you're going to get them. Not only are you going to make your record, but it's going to be on their court record. And if you're doing it right, you got it in this court record. And if you've got it in this court record right here, this is admissible. It happened. It's done. And as soon as they stamp it, finito. It's done. Look, there's a way that seems right unto man. But a lot of people are going to tell you to do things dishonorably. The minute that comes out of somebody's mouth, run. And I mean freaking fast. The minute you're talking to somebody and they're giving you any kind of advice, you should be able to shake their hand or at the very least know their name. If you don't know their name or if they've got some made up name, they're going to be lying to you. That's why they did that. Straight up. Stay away from these people. If they can't tell the truth, they don't need to be around you. The reason that you woke up is because your creator woke you up. It's because you're a part of a much, much, much bigger movement, bigger than anything else you've ever seen. And it's Yahweh's people coming together. I see it. And I know exactly how they've plucked this out. I had wonderful conversation this week with people just like myself, just like Chad, that have gone through the same struggles, the same things that we've gone through. And it's like, why? And it's because they knew who we were right from the go. And we got to do this thing right. And we got to recognize where the source is. And with all this explosion of knowledge, there's also an explosion from the other side coming to stop all that light. They don't want all that truth. If you were the kid that said, hey, don't tell him anything because he'll tell everybody. If you were that kid, more than likely, you were one of those anointed ones. If it was within you to just speak the truth no matter what, find that root again. Find that vein of success. I recommend it. So what we're going to be talking about towards the end of the class is actually how to foreclose on the lenders. And I have done it a couple of times. And we'll be going over a case that I did on a vehicle and a credit union. And it actually went to court and everything. And everything was fine when it was all said and done. So, like I said, equity always wins. But we have to play our side properly. And you've got to be ready. You've got to be contracting. When you're interfacing with these people in the public, you need to be contracting. Because if you're not contracting, guess who is? They are. Every time. You know, those of you guys might see some pictures of Alex. He's our MMA fighter. And actually he's fighting tonight. I think. No. Yeah, he's fighting tonight, I think. But he's in LA and he's fighting right now. Super guy, really nice guy. But one of the things I like about him is that he's from Ecuador. And every time we would go to a restaurant, sit down and eat, this guy would never order off the menu. He would just tell people what he wants. And you know what was really crazy? You would expect a vegetarian, you know, because they just get sides of just stuff. You know, that's what they eat. It's bird food. I don't know. But anyway, he's like that because you know he's one of those fighter guys. He's got to watch his figure. I get it. So, anyway, he'll just order random stuff and tell him to put it on a plate and bring it to him. And the funny thing is, I've been out to eat with this guy more than 10 times. And every time he does that, they just give it to him. They don't even say anything. Why? Because he's contracting, because he's there making the deal. And this is something we need to learn. We need to relearn how to do in America because we've gotten so lazy. You hear me? We've gotten so lazy watching everybody else do all these services for us that we just want to be served. And we're heading into a bad, bad, bad market. We've got to change that. We've got to be doing our own critical thinking rather than following schedules. I have so many students that will say, "Can you just give me a checklist? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5." You know, you can take them out of the trailer park, but you can't take the trailer park out of them. I'm telling you. And it takes some time to unmarry yourself from that behavior. It really does. So this class that's coming up is going to be all about that. And like I said, we're going to be going over a very recent purchase. A very recent purchase. Well, it's a very recent purchase. I foreclosed on my lender. And there you go, everybody. No lien holder. And anyway, see what it is. It's a 2019 Lincoln. There you go. So when you do these guys, you have to understand what is contract law, what is presentment, what is acceptance, and how do you force that hand? How do you enforce this paperwork? That's the $50,000 question that the state nationals can't answer. We can really talk it up. We can have a rally about it. We can get some vendors everywhere, make sure David gets paid out really well because that's how he gets his thing done. We could do all that. But you know what people really want to see is fruits. They want to see proof you actually did it. Those of you guys that have taken my class, this is the second one I've done in 4 years. Second one. And it's just understanding. Well, I will tell you, Sean, on your house, that is a little trickier, a lot trickier. And here's why. The banks are running everything right now. So when it comes to real estate, I am seeing things happen in foreclosure court that should never happen. So I'm not saying foreclosing on them is necessarily your remedy, but there's other remedies when you pay it off or if you can satisfy the note. So there are other remedies available to you, like getting the note back. Yeah. We talk about that in this class. We'll be talking about getting the note back. What do you do with it? You know, what's it worth? Well, if you have a trust account open and you have an investment account open, you just go from there. And one of my students today, I actually had a great call with him today. He just filed all of his UCC stuff, got his trust stuff set up, and had a great conversation with his bank. Told him, about bringing in uh, security agreements that had performed so that they could negotiate them. Oh yeah, we got medallion stamps up to $1 million and all this stuff. I mean, they were like, "Oh yes, anything you want. We'll have this here and this here, and if you need one bigger than $1 million, we'll have one. Somebody come in on Wednesdays and they'll do it." Before I was like, "Dang, they do back rubs too." I mean, it was just like everything. So and I'm going to tell you that it's demographic driven. So those of us that you know I don't know. It's gonna work really well for a lot of people, and some people are gonna have to struggle a little bit. That's me, and that's okay because the more we struggle, the more we learn, and the more we learn, the better we are at perfecting our process and understanding our process versus just finding one line that goes from here to the lake. If we knew where all the trees were and everything were around that path, and that's the price of having of maybe failing sometimes and really working your way through a process. So lots of benefits on that. But anyway, no, this is a super class. It's very good. It's performed very well. My wife and I have both taken classes on cleaning credit and things like that. So I mean, my wife is certified to do this stuff, and you know, it was really interesting because I had actually written all of the templates for this class. I wrote them myself, me personally. And after I took the certification class with my wife, I really didn't have to change much. I just added a couple of things. I added a couple of steps in what I was doing, and everything else has worked really well since then. So I have to tell you, it's very impressive. Uh, if you would like your stuff done like really fast, like 30, 60 days, and you want it done fast and you don't mind spending a little money, I have someone that will do it for you. He's very, very effective. Just send me a private message and I will get you his information. You can set up an appointment with him. And but those of you guys that are more hands-on and you just want to learn how to do it yourself, go through the bumps in the road, the black eyes and everything else with this whole thing, man. Because by doing that, you're gonna benefit because you're gonna understand the whole game, everything that's in the arena, not just point A to point B. So, is there any questions? Anybody got any questions about the deck class? You guys are welcome to. It's an open forum. If you guys would just press star to unmute, or the little thing at the bottom there, the microphone works too. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Like I said, keep James in your prayers. He's moving and he's I love that dude to death, but I wish he had some help because, you know, and he's so defensive. He's like, I like my solitude. I was like, no, you don't. Nobody likes solitude and moving all their crap by themselves. You can't say that on television. You can't. No, that's just not true. but it's kind of funny. So another thing we'll be talking about in the debt class too is the power of contracting. And we're going to be talking about assessing things that come into your house, like bills, debt collectors. What do you do with all that stuff? You throw them in the trash? You can make money? Hmm. Yeah. Do you know that there's public law in place that allows you to enforce payment for defective presentments? Anything defective, anything misleading. You ever seen you ever seen a collection company, and then they'll have like handcuffs or something, or they'll have like the some sort of justice theme on their stuff. You ever seen that from the debt collectors? Do you know that is illegal? That's $1,000 fine for that, and it's payable to you. But You have to know how to make a presentment. You have to know how to get acceptance. And then what happens if they don't pay, they don't pay, they don't pay? Take them to court. And if they still don't pay, you still have remedy. You still have remedy. Have you ever thought about that? Think about how many times we've been burned over the years, Sean. Seriously, our friends, they borrow stuff from us, borrowed our lawnmower, and they broke it. What if you could assess that? What if you could? I mean, it is his stuff. It is his bad. He probably admitted it. I know my dumb friends did. What if you could assess that? What if you could get those tax credits back? Wouldn't that be cool? What about people that are sending you stuff in the mail that they just shouldn't be sending you? What about people that are calling you on the phone and you've told them, "Stop calling me. I don't need a warranty." They're gonna need a warranty. And then you come to find out that these warranty companies that have been bringing your phones for the last 3 years, now they're all frauds. Have you noticed that? That's been popular lately. Like, they're not paying claims. Trying to think of that one that was out there, one of my students, Kurt, bought one of those things, when they call you on the phone, "We've been approved for your next blah, blah, blah," and then, they're not paying any claims. He forgot to tell them it was a Mercedes. And that'll get your warranty every time. But anyway, no, this class it's a very well focused class. I think you guys will really enjoy it. Just remember, everyone, that we have to have an interview with you first. If you've not taken any of the classes before, please interview with me. And the reason I do that is because I want to hear what you need to get out of the class. And by doing that and me having that interview time, I can focus on certain parameters. For example, we had a travel class this past weekend, and we did not have anybody in there that had been harassed, beat up by the cops, need to do any administrative claims. It was just simply, "Hey, what's up? How do you do it? Where's it at?" And we just went over it. And the reason why we went that way is because it wasn't relevant to anybody in the group. Now, the next travel class I have, we might have some people that got beat up by the cops and they need to file some stuff and they need to take these guys to bond court. Ooh, you know what that is? I mean, that's court where they take their bonds. Yeah. Yeah. Did you know you could do that? Nah. Because David Straight doesn't teach that kind of stuff. He doesn't know anything about that. He's too busy romping around, lying his butt off with the CIA or whatever he's doing. I don't know. You heard about the 300 kids in Johnson County, though? Eh, man, I'm glad that's not on my conscience. 300 kids in cages, dead. He had a part of that. 300 kids. 100. Wow. We are in the days of Noah. I can tell you that. So while we can just accept that we don't have a government in place. What does that mean? That means we need to be self-governing. That means we need to learn how to use all these switches that are around us. We need to learn how to operate on both sides of the table so that we are getting the maximum value that we can get for your labor dollars because we don't have any gold and silver. And you can't just switch back and forth and tell people to, "Oh, go get all your money out of the bank," like David Straight says. It, they're bank credits and they're going to stay there. If they crash the economy, they crash the economy. Okay. I mean, if the dollar becomes completely worthless and you need 10,000 of them to be equivalent to a $15 bill now, we could come to that. So, what do we need to do? We need to start preparing. We need to start understanding how to handle both sides. Otherwise, we're going to be victims of our own demise. I'm not trying to scare anybody into anything. Okay. Unless you're just scared of a little education. But the point of this class is to bring you closer to that situation because here's the deal. We really need to start managing our own finances. It's quite clear that the people in government are incompetent and unable to do so. The only finances they seem to maintain very well is their own, in case you haven't noticed. Yeah. Look at Obama and his sports car collection. He bought the Magnum PI mansion in Hawaii. Did you know that? Yeah. Just ruined it. No more Hagens. No more Zeus and Apollo. You just have two. Can't say what I'm supposed. I can't say what is about to come out of my mouth. I can't say that. I can't say that on here. That would be appropriate. Just two individuals. This week I was actually, and I would recommend anybody that's seeking Yahweh, uh, check out these guys, Council of the Wise, on YouTube. He's a little rough around the edges, and he does. I think his speech is a bit duplicitous, but his research is solid and he is on point. And he was reading in Leviticus where it says these boys are out there that cut their junk off. That's it. You're not making it. I mean, it's like it's in Leviticus. He like read it, and I was like, whoa. Don't you know, like all the like half the LBGTQ flags like went down like as soon as he read that. It's like, oh damn. And we thought we were doing it right. No, you're not. Sure. Crazy stuff, man. But anyway, yeah, check those guys out. They really are amazing. And they're really good on scripture. They talk a lot about I guess some of the major issues that I had, growing into being a Hebrew was, the difference between, I guess, extracting myself from my Christian upbringing and roots and Catholic upbringing and roots to what Yahweh wants me to be. Not what the world wants me, but what Yahweh wants me to be. And he was asking for it. They're called the Council of the Wise. So yeah, you can look them up on YouTube, and he's really good. Like I said, he's a little rough, but he really does break down. He could be nicer about it, but he's a bit insulting. Oh, these stupid Christians, they always say this and this and this and this. So if you like hearing that kind of stuff, he's your guy. I think he's pretty funny. He could cool it a little bit on some of the tongue lashing, but like I said, he's on point, and it's hard to say that somebody's being cruel and mean when they're telling you the flat out truth. I mean, seriously. 11? Oh, Mark Levine? Mark Levine. Mark Levine. That's Patrick Levine's son, right? No, different guy? Hmm. Oh, Fox News. For trying to get his wife out of jail. All right, Bruce. That's just too much. You got to come in here. You got to unmute yourself and tell us. That's it. You've been busted with the notes in class. Let's go. Tell the class. Unmute yourself. Welcome, Amy. What were you saying about this? Who was trying to get his wife out of jail, Bruce? Uh-oh. It's not working, Bruce. Have an equipment malfunction. Uh-uh. Still not working. Oh, the radio show, Mark Levine. Oh, you know what? I've heard of that. Now I'm saying. Bruce said Walmart junk. It's fun cutting. Yeah. What do you expect? Well, it could make you smile a long time. Pay very little. Anyway, well, I got to tell you that there's a lot of people out there that think they have the answers. But the common denominator is really having Yahweh in your life. You can be, I love these. I don't want to say who it is, but I have a family member that is a very successful person in a lot of ways, but a failure in so many others. And every time you talk to this guy, he's always quoting other people. Oh, well, so and so says this, and so says that. It's like, he's still in that mental programming thing that people did like in the 90s. Remember, listen to this cassette like 40 times and you'll be able to grow flowers in your sleep, stupid stuff like that. Anyway, he's like from that generation. And you know, and I love him to death, but like I said, I never hear him talking about Yahweh. He goes to church every Sunday, but he didn't talk about Yahweh. And the word says, as a man speaketh, so is he. Out of the abundance of the heart, the man speaks. So what does that tell us? Who's first? Ask yourself that. Do you know what your boss drives? You know his house, you know his cars, you know all of his stuff, and you're like, ooh, it's so cool. Are you one of those guys? You better get in line with Yahweh, because your boss will fire you next week, and all of his nice stuff and his jet boat won't matter. He'll fire you tomorrow because he won't be able to pay you. And you better remember that your checks come from Yahweh. All of your checks. Your finances come from Yahweh. He can turn them on, he can turn them off. I talked to a student this week. He prayed over his finances, and his cup overflowed like a lot. I don't want to tell him how much. It doesn't matter. But it was a lot, like extremely a lot, like more than most people make in a year, a lot, in a few months. So Yahweh is in control of whatever. And whatever adversity you have in your life, stop trying to handle it yourself. Learn the basics of all this other stuff. Learn how to move in equity. Learn how to move lawfully. Learn how to speak a sound gospel in everything that you do. And the only way you're going to do that is following Torah. You're not going to do it with your goodness. You're not going to do it with Sean's righteousness, because he's not that righteous, and I'm not either. So what do we need? We need a lot of grace. And you know where grace comes from? Obedience. Nope, can't earn your way to heaven. Nope, can't do that. But you can sure get a lot of grace. Here's truth and example. If you got two kids, those of you guys that are parents, right? And you got one kid that listens and the other kid that doesn't listen. At age 16, when it's time to buy them a car, are you buying them both new cars? Probably not. Why? Because you got one that's receiving it, acting accordingly, and you got one that's fighting you all the way there. Some of us are fighting Yahweh all the way there. Some of us are fighting tradition. Some of us are fighting culture all the way there. And that's all it takes. I hear a lot of people say, oh, Yahweh knows my heart. It's okay. No, it's not. We have to be obedient. Grace comes to those that are obedient. If you're a bad kid, you get no grace. I know, because I used to be a bad kid. I got no grace. None. Never. You know, when Yeshua spoke to everybody, you know that he spoke to them in equity? He did. And everything that he said, every parable ever written, is all based on equity. All of it. You know what a dummy I felt like when I came to terms with that? That's the difference between standing on the rock and standing in your own nonsense and trying to interpret this life. Look, man, these eyes will deceive you. These ears make you hear things you didn't hear. And your mouth, well, I don't know about your mouth, but let me tell you about my mouth. My mouth will say things it shouldn't say. My mouth will say things that nobody should say. It has. So, and here I am blessing you today with that very same mouth. I do that with the grace of Yahweh. And that's the only way. So, when we learn these processes, and you get a lot of people in this world that say, what would Jesus do? We need to do what Jesus would do. But Jesus honored the Sabbath. Jesus didn't eat pork. Jesus honored the Torah. Jesus did all this and this. And what are they doing? We got grace. We're good. We go do whatever we want. Get her done. Right? We're missing it, America. And our morals are falling apart. I believe Babylon has already fallen. So who's going to save us? Not Donald Trump. Oh, because they cheated on the last election. And guess what? They'll cheat on this one too. I know we're not supposed to talk about that stuff, but why would they, and I say this, why would they not? Why would they not continue to lie to us? You guys see the TikTok ad I just posted recently about the little girl that did like a trace on all the presidents and figured out from Obama all the way back to Washington, except for one president, they're all related. Is that should tell you right then and there. We do not pick our officials. Our officials are picked, and then there's a little public participation game that happens so that people feel like they're in control. Very dissimilar to when you go to traffic court and you say, I'm taking it to trial. They try to set it up like Judge Wapner's court. They turn on their microphones. They got the air conditioning down cold. They got a guy in there with a long sleeve shirt and 40 clips of ammunition stuck to him, and he's ready to kill everybody in there if they don't act up right. I'm serious. Serious. This is what they do. This is called witchcraft. Whenever somebody is trying to change your perception without changing the actual facts at hand, that is called spelling. That is witchcraft. That is something that the Nephilim taught us how to do. And we should have never learned how to do this. So we've learned all these nasty things to do our whole lives, but we haven't learned the right thing to do. And this is what we're missing. This is the number one thing that we're missing in our processes. When you look at these other teachers that are out there doing what they're doing, it always involves some level of deception or breach of contract. I'm serious. How can you expect to get anything good from that? We can't. I mean, how much dog crap would be acceptable in tonight's dinner? I'm thinking 0. Well, how about we just throw a little on the corner? No, like 0. But yet, how much crap do we put up with these other people? How much crap have we paid for through Stop the Pirates and Anna Von Wright? And this is crap. I saw David Strait's binder, and it's like, this is the binder you get for $1.99. Big deal. It's a trip to Kinko's, buddy. What is that? Oh, that's what everybody's insulating their glove boxes with these days, and it's not working. You guys see that one on there where that David Straight student was getting nailed with the OC gas, and he was all, and he's all screaming, and they're just laughing at him. Why? Because he brought public, or actually he brought private into public. He started screaming at these guys about things that are backroom, and he brought them all out into the public. And then what do you have? You have a Jerry Springer episode. That's exactly what you have. Don't you realize that's what Jerry Springer does? He takes people's private business, puts them in the public, and watch them go boom, and now he's dead. That's really sad. I know, right? Jerry. I mean, and all that. I mean, think about it. We're all programmed. I know I was part of that group too. Come on, let's watch Jerry. You know it's going to be messed up tonight. They got the chick with the blue hair on. Come on, we got to watch it. You know what I'm talking about. So what I'm saying is we got to do things better. We've got to start operating with the principles, the real principles this country was founded on. And right now we're operating on principles of not telling the truth, not having a sound gospel. We've got teachers out there that are teaching people how to do stuff that ain't doing anything except pissing people off, except getting people into trouble. And this is why I came public in the first place. So if you guys are interested in taking that class or any of our classes, please schedule an appointment with me. If I can answer any questions for you, if you've got something going on and you just want to talk about it privately and have a private conversation with me about it, want to know what I think about something, that's totally fine too. It's completely free. Just go to my website, schedule an appointment with me. I'm pretty much open all during the week, about from 8 to 6, and I'm usually on the phone all day long, every day. And I'm always helping somebody. And it's just what we do. So I assure you we're not a front pocket ministry by any means. We're just here to help our vets and educate the public and about how to do these things properly so that we can stay in honor. If you stay in honor, else around you will stay in honor. Your children will follow your path. And here's how I know this. Remember, I told you I was a bunghole growing up, right? Well, my kids are like really good. And it's because I learned how to be good. So this class is going to be some foundation work for that. Those of you guys that are opening your trust and learning how to operate, this is another commercial aspect of your trust to keep the walls up, to keep the public on the public and your private on the private. It's the only way to keep things done. It's like that old McDonald's sandwich from back in the day, the cold side and the warm side and all that. That's what you got to do. Well, with that being said, you guys, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I'll be having this posted on our website. I'm sorry, on our YouTube page. It's called Living Life Without Contracts. Please check us out. We appreciate you guys. Be blessed in all you do. May Yahweh bless your days tomorrow. And all of you dads out there, I hope y'all had a great Father's Day. Good night, everybody.